place for you and me. They like to devour all things TWD. They're a little hellish. You're gonna relish them. Relish the day. Oh yeah. Get your axe, shoot your best, get your crossbow. It's Carol, Eliza, Barb, and Don. We gotta tune in before they tear us apart. They got a way right through to your heart. You gotta cherish them, or you're gonna relish them.
Good evening. Welcome to the Relishing Dead podcast, where we devour everything in the TWD universe. I'm Dawn.
I'm Barb.
I'm freaking out. I'm Carol.
I'm Eliza.
Do you want to go, Eliza?
Yeah, we got to tell you about a little bit about our guest tonight. This gentleman has over 400 film and television credits to his name, and he just keeps adding to the list. A 40-year career in film industry. He has 27 awards, including 4 Primetime Emmy Awards, an Academy Award, a BAFTA Award. Dawn, who do we have joining us tonight?
Well, our guest tonight, I can't say enough about him because I absolutely love his brain. It is the man, the myth, the legend. Greg fucking Nicotero is in the house.
That's right.
That's right.
Welcome.
Just ignore the name down there. That's bringing me good luck.
We wanted to bring both of you on.
No, it's funny. I was trying to sign on with my normal name, my regular name, and it didn't work. So I thought I'd use my alter ego name, which is Jeff Dean. And now it's perfect. There's no glitching. There's no internet problems. I didn't realize how good he fucking had it until I realized that by just summoning his name, everything just works.
That's my boo. That's my boo.
He will appreciate this story tomorrow when I tell him.
Absolutely. Well, we are so honored to have you. One of the things that we like to do is we try to introduce the audience to you, the man beyond The Walking Dead, to your other bodies of work. And then when we started looking at your other bodies of work, we said, shit, we'll be talking till Christmas.
I know. How much time do we have?
Thinking back on your life, and as we researched your life, you were surrounded from a very young age with horror films, 8mm. Your uncle was in My Bloody Valentine and The Mothman Prophecies. And, you had an aha moment around 1975 when yours and Dawn's favorite movie came out with Jaws. But then you went into college going pre-med. Where was the aha moment from pre-med to the Greg legendary Nicotero that we have today?
Well, there's a few moments in there because that's a pretty big jump from 75 to 81. We were on a family vacation in Europe in 1977, and I was sitting at a restaurant. I was 15, and across the restaurant was Alfredo's in Rome, was George Romero. So evidently he was there working with Dario on Dawn of the Dead. Mm. So I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's George Romero, And when he got up to leave, we got up at the same time. My younger brother, Brian, and I ran over to him like, hey, you're George Romero. And my Uncle Sam, and he was in the Crazies with you, and he was a DJ and a writer. He wrote for Cinefantastique and interviewed George in a really good interview. So it was kind of like, oh, yeah, how's your uncle doing? And so, George signed an autograph for me, which I still have, on a postcard from the restaurant.
Wow.
And it was really just, that was sort of the first aha moment, because he said, oh, our offices are on Fort Pitt Boulevard downtown. You should just come visit. And I was like, really? So I used to go visit him. Wow. When they were shooting Night Riders. I went to visit the set. And then they, cut to 1980. And he's like, hey, so we're doing Creep Show. You want a job? And I went, what do you mean? He goes, well, we need production assistants, people that can like work at the studio and help on set. And I said, well, I'm getting ready to graduate high school and go off to college, but can I just come visit? He said, yeah, come anytime you want. So I would go on Saturdays because I was still in high school. And that's when I met Tom Savini. And I would go out Saturday mornings. I would drive to Monroeville from my house in the North Hills, about 45 minutes. And I would hang out in Tom's shop while he was building all the effects for Creepshow.
Wow.
And that's where we became friends. So then you flash to July of 1984. And I called George, hey, I'm going to come down and have lunch. And I go down and he said, hey, we just got a green light. We're doing Day of the Dead. Do you want a job? And I'm like, I literally said, look, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I turned down work on Creepshow. I said, I'm about to do my senior year in college. So maybe I'll just take a semester off school. I'll work on the movie and then I'll go back and finish up and be a doctor. And that'll be that. So I called Tom and I said, hey, I just got hired on Day of the Dead. I want to be your assistant. And my job was getting resumes from crew people, ordering supplies, reading the script. I mean, I didn't know how to break a script down. I just read it and said, oh, zombie's head explodes. That sounds like us. Oh, this guy's eyeball. That sounds like us, So that was it. It was complete. It was a complete fluke. Like if I hadn't have been at that restaurant at that moment, I would have never met George and that wouldn't have happened if he hadn't have said, hey, come down for lunch one day, So it really oddly just kind of coalesced into reality, It's crazy.
So it was really serendipitous, and the stars aligned for what you were destined to always do.
Well, I'll tell you the craziest thing. I have a video on my phone. So my dad is a big video buff. So I had one of the old cameras. It was a beta camera, and you'd put the tape in and you'd walk around and you'd film everything. That's, now people have this thing. But when I was younger, you literally had to put the tape in and you'd walk around and film everything. And I did it all the time. And my brother found a video that I shot in like 1982 of what I called my office in my parents' house, which was just a room in the basement, but it had my movie posters on the wall. And there's literally a movie poster of Creepshow on the wall, and I'm filming it, and you can hear me say, Mom, Dad, one day you're going to see my name just like this.
Wow.
Literally on a Creepshow poster. So you flash to
forward.
2018, there's actually a real Creepshow poster with my name on it. So
Cool.
I don't know how else to make it more real than that.
Wow.
You've worked under the tutelage of so many amazing directors, Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino, just the list, Frank Darabont, our connection with Walking Dead. But working under Savini, who was always been considered the guru, godfather of slash and gore. But you are that. You have taken up that mantle to us, and you always will carry that mantle for us.
Well, thank you. I mean, look, it really did start with Tom. I did an interview this morning actually for a Day of the Dead. They found like an old work print of Day of the Dead, and they're going to release it. And they asked me to do an interview. So I was talking to them and I said, look, from like 1977 to 1985, that sort of time period was probably the greatest for genre cinema ever, because it was, it ushered in Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th, and then all those slasher movies. And then when you get into the early 80s, The Howling, The Thing, American Werewolf in London, then it's Wes Craven and Rob Bottin and Joe Dante and John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper. And those filmmakers were household names. Like people knew who John Carpenter was. People knew who Wes Craven was. And I feel like George sort of bookended that time period with Dawn of the Dead at the one end and Day of the Dead at the other end. Because after 85, you still had like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and you still had the Halloween and Leatherface. But I always felt that bookend was the greatest genre movies. And it really started with Tom. Tom was not only a makeup artist, but he approached his effects like a magician. It was always misdirection, and
Mhm.
you see, hey, you look over here, and while you're looking over here, something,
Yeah.
Right.
something happened. So he crafted his effects to be magic tricks, and that really, before CGI and digital effects, you had to be clever, and that was what Tom was, sort of the forefather of that in cinema.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Girls, y'all have to talk too. It can't just be Greg and I all night.
I was going to ask, since you were bringing that, as your earliest memory is, what did you want to be growing up, and when did all this start?
Well, I never really thought too much about being in the film industry because I lived in Pittsburgh. My dad's a physician, and he was sort of like, you have the brains of the family and you're going to be a doctor and follow in my footsteps. And I kind of went, oh, okay, sure, that makes sense. But, I would stay up late on Saturday nights and watch Chiller Theater and draw monsters. I still have my sketch pad upstairs from when I was in high school.
Oh wow.
And I used to draw and watch horror movies and read Famous Monsters magazine. And, it was just, I was just enamored with it. Like Eliza was saying, I had all the Super 8 movies of Ray Harryhausen, and Universal Monsters. And, my first real interest was models and miniatures, like Star Trek and Lost in Space and the Poseidon Adventure. I love models and miniatures, and I was so fascinated. Like, I loved the Towering Inferno. Like, I would build little models out of like plastic girders and then just torch them and light them on fire. I'm surprised my parents weren't a little more concerned. I was some sort of weirdo, but I wanted to build the model. I used to put sparklers on I used to glue paper plates together and put sparklers on them and throw them in the backyard like they were UFOs.
Oh my God.
Then I saw Jaws, and then it occurred to me when I saw Jaws, all I wanted to know was how they did it. How did they make the shark? Who did this? I was so, probably because it so terrified me that the only way that my brain could process not being afraid was to understand, to peel back the curtain and understand how it was done. And that was a huge influence on me. There was a Time magazine article called Summer of the Shark, and it had a great cover on it. And they had pictures of the shark behind the scenes. And I was blown away by that. And I just wanted to know the irony of all this. Again, talk about full circle. We're building right now, the Academy, Motion Picture Academy in Los Angeles is opening a Jaws exhibit in a couple of weeks to celebrate Jaws. So we're building a quarter scale, 6-foot replica of the shark.
Oh wow.
A mechanical shark. So the mouth opens and closes, and the tail moves, and the fins and the body moves. So we're finishing it literally. We install it on Friday.
Wow.
I invited Joe Alves, who was the original production designer, invited him to the shop today, and actually shot a photo of him operating the shark at the studio. And I'm like, might be the coolest fucking thing that I've ever seen in my life. Is I have a picture of Joe. Here, I'll just show you on my phone. So if you look, like, there's the shark without the skin and the mechanics.
Oh wow.
That's
Wow.
Joe. That's Joe at the controls.
How amazing is that?
Full circle. The production designer, the guy who built the mechanical shark for Jaws, was at my studio today looking at a quarter scale version of something he built 50 years ago.
That has to be for an artist and a fan a moment in time that will stay with you forever. It'll be one of those memories that stays.
Yeah, and the look on his face, because I have a big collection of Jaws memorabilia, and I have one of them is a blueprint of the shark, the mechanism for the mouth, and we literally used the exact mechanism that they built for the real mechanical shark, and we shrunk it down and we built the same mechanism. So
Oh.
We literally were engineering the shark the same way the guys did 51 years ago. The only difference is A, it's only 6 feet, not 25 feet.
Mhm.
And B, it doesn't have to go in the water, thank God.
Right.
Thank God.
Wow.
But it's really, so of course I'm very, very particular about it. I go back when the guys are working on it, I'm like, teeth need to be there. That you're missing hoses here. Add a little bit of black along the edge of the dorsal fin. Like everybody's kind of like, we better not fuck this up because this is my baby. So
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So I do have a question. When I met you in Lexington, Greg, I had told you that you were a lifelong fandom of mine because I'm a big Tom Savini fan.
yes.
And of course, I learned about you from my fandom of his and all of that. And first off, I really appreciate the interaction that we had in Lexington with you because
I
many
know.
of
I've
our
seen you guys, 2 years in a row? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then you came to the restaurant and you hung out with us for a few minutes too, which was
I know.
awesome.
That was great. That was
But my question to you is that through all these years, I mean, you have done you and Tom both, but as individuals, you guys have done some really crazy shit, just off the chain stuff, like Dr. Giggles. Are you kidding me? The kid,
crawling out of the body.
insane. So
Nobody
have
knows
you
that movie.
ever?
That's funny you bring that up. Nobody knows that.
I love that movie. Have you ever said to yourself, no, that's too over the top?
That particular effect was close. Have I told you that story, or did you just pick that?
No.
'Cause that's a really random one to pick. So, the Larry Drake, my dear friend Manny Cotto wrote and directed that movie. We shot it in Oregon, and there's a scene at the end where the kid, the young version of Larry Drake, his mom dies and he hides in her body. So the police come and they're looking around and they see this body on the table, and then a little scalpel pops up through the chest and slices open, and this little kid crawls out covered in blood, like he was hiding in his mom's body. And so we had a little tabletop that had a hole in it so that the kid could crawl in it, and then we made this body of the woman. We bolted the body so the body couldn't move, and we put this little kid in there. We covered him in fake blood and gel blood. And it was it was middle of summer, but he was really cold. So the poor little kid's like shivering, covered in blood. And that shot, when the scalpel comes up and he crawls out, was one of the first times that I kind of went, oof. That's a little that's a little intense.
Yeah.
That particular one was something that, look, when you're standing on set and you have the camera and you have the crew and you have the actors and you have everybody kind of around, you're not in it like the audience is in it, because you're seeing, there's the microphone and there's the lights, and there's craft service. So for you to be able to be taken out of it, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And in that particular instance, that was wild for me. Oh,
Wow.
I think people are dropping. Is that me or is that them?
Oh, you're
No, you're
okay.
good.
You're okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
I think he froze.
Did
Can
you
you-
freeze?
He froze.
Can you hear?
No.
Oh, there you
There
are.
you go.
As soon as Carol started doing her hair,
He froze again.
Froze again.
Yeah, he froze again. Yeah, he froze again.
There you go.
All right, we got him back.
This is
Carol,
amazing.
don't touch your hair.
Don't touch your hair.
Okay, I won't.
So
it
Greg,
was very funny. Carol was flicking her hair and
so Greg, in any movie or TV show where you've done practical effects and digital effects, is there a time that they were going to do a digital effect and you said, hey, wait a minute, the practical could be better, and it was?
A lot of times, because the benefit of a practical effect is it's real, it's
Right.
on set, the blood hits the wall, the actors react. The benefit of a digital effect is you have more control over it. You know, if you're going to blow a zombie's head off, but you don't have time to reset for take 2, then CGI will put the blood spray in and blow the top of the head off. On Walking Dead, you know, the first several, I would say a lot of the season 1 zombie stuff was practical. But I think it got to the point where we kind of started thinking like, oh shit, you know, I mean, we don't have time to reset and clean up the blood and put new wardrobe on the actors and stuff. So it really became a necessity. And I'll give you a perfect example. You know, when Morgan in episode 1, when Morgan sees his wife, and he's got the gun with the scope and he's shooting the zombies. And there's one great shot of a zombie there, and then the whole head, just beautiful spray of blood. That was practical. But then the other scene when Rick is lying in the front yard and wakes up and sees the zombie coming towards him, and then Morgan walks up next to him and shoots the zombie and the zombie falls. That was a digital effect. Now, the reason was because that zombie had to walk like 20 feet up the road, then we couldn't put a tube up his leg. Whereas in the other shot, we were able to put a tube in there. So, you know, for a lot of that practical stuff, it is a necessity of A, how you're going to shoot it, and B, you know, what your time frame is. You know, practical stuff does take time, but when it works, it leaves you with, you know, that lasting image that you can't get out of your head.
Right. Well, Greg, we have a lot of people that are in the audience. We have a ton of family, of TWD family, watching tonight, and they're all fans of your work. And they have, some of them have sent in some photos. So we're going to go down memory lane here for just a second.
Okay. Uh-oh.
And then this is Anissa. She's met you several times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so sweet.
And and there's Pam.
Yeah.
And Sabrina, she saw you at your restaurant.
Yeah.
And then our friends Wesley and Sarah and Oscar. I took this picture in Sonoy.
I was going to say, that looks like that's outside of the restaurant too.
Yeah. And then we have Terry and Kay.
Aww.
And then we have, of course, Barb when she met you in Lexington the first time.
Right next to Chad Coleman. Look at that.
And then here's you and Dawn.
Now that one, Dawn, go back. That one, the one, is that was like 2 years ago, right?
The one on the left.
3 years ago.
2 year ago. This was last year. And we were
The one on the left is 2 years ago. The one on the right is 1 year ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this is the most epic picture of epic pictures.
Yeah.
I love that. And that hug, though. And then this was the night that Greg fangirled over me and Eliza.
That's right.
Yeah,
Wait,
we were
one of you wasn't there.
Neither of us. Yeah, neither of us were there.
Yeah.
So
We
I
had
had to
him on
call you. That's right.
FaceTime.
I had to call you from the restaurant.
We were like,
I'm the only one that has yet to be graced with your beauty and sweetness, and I haven't met you in person, and it's
What
just
the hell are
about
you
to
waiting
kill me.
for? I'm not getting any younger, you
so
know.
far away. We have to get her closer.
I know.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm
And
not
then
going
finally,
I'm not going to Lexington.
this was last year.
Yay.
And so I wanted to get to this
Hey,
picture
hey.
here because this is a big deal for Dawn, and she had a question about this particular walker. Dawn?
That's cake.
Yes, he was amazing. And a friend of ours drew this for me on canvas, and I love it dearly. But the Lonely Walker, was that your idea? Like, where did that come from? Where did that creation?
That actually was in the script. That
Was
was the episode where Rick and Shane drive off 8 miles out, right?
18 miles out. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in the script that, you know, as they're driving along, they just look over and there's sort of a zombie in the field. And we literally just went, Jake, put a mask on and run out there. Jake's my best friend, so like he and I have walked out of many bars, and he's had that same walk at 2:00 in the morning. Anybody that we've ever been out with will be like, "Hey, was that Jake Garber in the opening?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everybody knows Jake. You know that's his walk." Yeah, because he was shooting a TV show in Atlanta when the camp was last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
And he went down to say hi to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we also have a lot of artists like Terry, who did The Lonely Walker. We have a friend of ours, Mark Roberts, who does the Dead cards. And I think
your
when
own
you met
trading
Dawn and
card.
Barb, huh?
I told Greg he has his own trading card now.
I like it.
Yeah. And then we have Linda Athens and we have Carl Wilson, who both are artists and have done several pieces of your characters.
Nice. Look at that.
And then we have some background actors that were actually on TWD that have now branched off and they are doing independent projects and stuff like that. And so I did have a question about for you, for the people who are doing these independent things like this. Are there particular do's and don'ts for the independent art or film industry that you would suggest that they shy away from or move towards to kind of help them get their products out there?
You mean Walking Dead products or just
No, just in general, the independent film, people that are working on independent films, or there are things that they need to kind of be leery of?
Look, I mean, it's the world is so different now. I mean, when the Terrifier movies come out and they're self-financed and they cost $1.5 million and it makes $60 million.
Right.
The real challenge is getting people to see your movie, because I don't think it's that difficult these days, because there are so many platforms for people to see your movies. You could put it on Instagram and make a trailer and set a YouTube page up and just get people to see it. That's really where it all started. If you think about Last House on the Left and Friday the 13th and The Hills Have Eyes, like all those sort of genre defining movies, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Night of the Living Dead, they were all independent movies.
Right.
And the truth was, nobody really saw very many screenings of those movies. I don't know what I was saying there, because they were, released only in drive-in theaters and didn't have a big release. Now, you really do have an opportunity to get your movie in front of people, and it's as easy as posting a trailer with a link to a YouTube, So I don't know if you're gonna make any money that way, but the first step is getting people to see your movie.
Right.
Get exposure. Gotcha.
There's a lot of studios that will hire people based on a short film that they saw. Oh, we loved your short film. What's the Lights Out? That Lights Out movie.
Yeah.
That was based on a short film.
Wow.
I want to say Talk to Me was based on a short film. There's a lot of movies that come out that were based on short films that all of a sudden they're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Not only are you a special effects god, you are also an actor sometimes.
He's smoking hot. He's
Yes.
Well, it wasn't. Look, the truth of the matter was, it wasn't pot. It was just real tobacco with no filter on it, which probably was worse, because I had to smoke about 30 of those.
Oh God.
Every time we would do another take, I would have to smoke another one. So Tasso and I, and the funniest story that day was, we shot the whole morning, all the actors and we rehearsed, and I only had a couple lines of dialogue, and then they go, all right, we'll break for lunch and we'll come back. And I went to stand up and I was like green because I smoked so much tobacco. And George came over and literally started laughing. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, I don't smoke. So, like, I literally ingested about 3 years worth of tobacco in about 5 hours. And he literally put his arm underneath me and lifted me out of the chair and took me to lunch because I
No.
couldn't walk. I was so like
Oh,
green.
that's sad.
Great. That's one of my
That's
favorite George Romero stories.
And not a lot of people know that you were in this film because you're in this film very, very quickly.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
I'm in that scene in that movie twice actually.
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez wanted a scene with me and Tom Savini together because
Yeah.
he's like, Tom is your mentor. You're like the next up and coming, you're like his guy. So I wanted a scene with the two of you together. So we shot that scene, had a lot of fun. And then interestingly enough, there's another scene with me that got cut out of the movie where it's halfway through the vampire melee and I walk over and I sit in a chair and I'm bleeding out of my neck's been torn open and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the band because Robert's like, dude, you play guitar. If you're on your last couple minutes, we're just going to sit you up. Like, you're probably right. That's probably exactly what I would do. So in the scene, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the band and I'm kind of like bleeding. And then Salma Hayek comes over and sits in my lap in the purple bikini. And then she smiles at me and I smile and she opens her mouth and it opens super wide and this big snake thing comes out and bites my head off.
Oh my gosh.
And we shot it. It was all like, we made like the little rod puppet snake monster and we shot the plates of Selma and they shot the live action stuff. I want to say it might be on like some weird special features version of the show somewhere.
Okay.
But, the only thing I remember is that Salma Hayek sat on my lap for about an hour and a half. And then they called lunch, and I'm like, I'm just going to stay here for a minute.
Everything else is a blur.
And then I'll never forget, we went to the premiere of the movie, and my mom and dad came out for the premiere, and my dad said, holy shit, who was that woman? I said, Dad, not only who was that woman, but I had a scene with her. And she sat on my lap for an hour and a half. And she signed a picture for me. It was really funny. I think years later, I went to a party at Selma's house and we were joking about something. I said, you were my first love scene in any movie ever made, kind of as a joke. So I get this photo in the mail, 6 months later from Selma signed to me. I'm so glad that I had your first love scene on screen. And I was
Oh my gosh. That's so fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I love it.
Which is pretty
So
good.
do we have a Patreon video or anything like that, Eliza, that you want to throw up there?
Oh God. Yeah.
Okay. Give you a second. We have a question for you from one of our Patreons, Greg.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Greg. Thanks so much for coming on this amazing podcast. We're very excited to have you. My question is, what character special effect are you most proud of and why?
What character special effect? Well, look, if we're talking specifically about The Walking Dead, I would probably say the Bicycle Girl. Actually found some videos today that I haven't watched in 15 years that I shot on set of that scene, of filming that scene with Melissa Cowan and Andy.
Wow.
I think because that was the first thing that was put out there. The first look photo that AMC released was that zombie makeup. In terms of non-Walking Dead stuff, I'm super proud of Creepshow. I loved a lot of the stuff we did on that. I would say Sin City, the makeups we did, Mark up and Benicio del Toro and Nick Stahl, Mickey Rourke. I loved that movie.
Right.
And then I have a new show coming out, actually.
Yes, you do.
That I'm really, really proud of, which I'm dying for you. I'm dying for anybody to see it because I'm the only person that's seen it right now. But it's so much fun. And it's called Guts and Glory. And the idea came about because I was like, I love all these competition shows. And, I love Amazing Race and I love Survivor and I love The Traitors and I love, Big Brother and I love Top Chef. I mean, I've watched watch all that shit. I mean, that's what I do when I come home from working and I'm like, I want to put something on and just be entertained. That's what I watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been toying around with this idea of like, it would be so much fun to do a competition show that sort of evolves into a horror movie. So AMC and Shudder was super keen on that idea, and we came up with this show. And we shot 6 episodes, and each episode is a different challenge that pays tribute to a different genre. There's a buried alive challenge. There's an exorcism challenge. There's, of course, a zombie challenge. There's an autopsy challenge. There's a monster on the loose challenge. And the best thing about it was these people, I'm telling you, my contestants. So I hired a guy named Randy Bernstein. He has a company called Casting Duo. And they are responsible for casting for a lot of competition shows and reality shows. So I watched video after video of all these people, we wrote specific questions geared to like how they would handle horror stuff. And, so we picked these 10 people who I adore, all of them. And the irony was they didn't know anything about the show. They're like, here's a plane ticket, pack your shit. This is what's going to happen. They had to sign a contract. And one clause in the contract literally says, we're not responsible if you get sick, if you die, if you get dismembered, we're not responsible. And this time, most of them signed it anyway. Like, I think maybe one people went, But for the most part, they signed it, and they got on a plane, they flew down to Georgia, and then we put them in a bus and we drove them into Alabama. And the conceit of the show is, that the competition takes place in the swamp in Alabama, where we drop them off unwittingly near the location of an urban legend where this evil spirit supposedly haunts these woods. So the contestants didn't know anything about what was going into it. We do the first challenge. Shit starts going wrong, and they're all looking at the camera going, we don't know what we signed up for. Is this, what the hell's happening? Until like the end of episode 2, and then they're like, got it. All right. And then they were in. They were really like, okay, this is for real cash and real prizes. Let's do it. So,
How can we sign up?
Yeah.
well,
We're ready.
you have to pretend you don't know me. But I'll tell you, it was really, it was such a unique experience for me, because it's not like a movie where you can cut, let's try it again.
Right.
Let's get a better performance. The blood didn't look quite right. Let's do another one. Try it this way. Mm-hmm. We had to design it all to happen in real time. And I instructed the camera operators. We had 7 cameras. I said, look, film the reactions. If somebody gets attacked by a creature, if somebody's head explodes, if something happens, film the reactions of the contestants. Because obviously it'll take about 10 seconds for them to realize, okay, that didn't really happen.
Right.
They didn't really kill that person in front of me. But it's the 10 seconds from the moment they see it until their brain catches up to them that I wanted to capture.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. It's crazy.
We are excited for it very much. So yeah, we're ready to sign up for the season 2.
Yeah.
Well,
It premieres September 9th. So anybody who's watching in the comments, make sure that you put that on your calendar. September 9th is when it's coming out.
And the funny thing is, of course, I just looked down at my name, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. When I hosted Destination X, oh wait, no, that was the real Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
That was the wrong show.
It's good.
However, I loved that show.
It's good.
I thought Jeffrey did a great job.
Uh-huh.
And it was really funny because we were texting back and forth, and I said, shit, I wish I would have seen the show before, because I'm actually the host of my show. So I'm on camera for some of it, not a lot, but I really wish I had seen Jeffrey before I did mine, because he was so relaxed and he was so like, hey, contestants. And I was like, son of a good job.
Yeah.
So I texted him today and sent him the trailer, and I said, all right, you're done. I'm on deck now. I'm not going to do as good of a job as you did, but I'm going to try.
See,
That's funny.
he's my unicorn to have on the
Yeah.
podcast, and Carol and Dawn's is Andrew, but I just want Jeffrey Dean. Greg, I want to ask you. I mean, we can't have you here and not talk about The Walking Dead. Did you guys realize when you started this what you were actually creating? I mean, there are fandoms out there, Star Wars, Star Trek, the Vampire Diaries, but there's something about the TWD fandom where it's a family.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
family. The camp that is hosted in Peachtree City every year is probably one of the very few surviving Walking Dead focused get togethers because we can't
Yeah.
even call it a convention. Um, and it's family. We go there to be with one another, and the actors are, the icing on the cake. When did that click with you guys as both cast and crew that we've made something much larger than just a television show?
Well, I mean, Frank and the cast was a huge part of that. Hold on, my dog. What do you want? Frank and the cast was a huge part of it. When Andy came down and John Bernthal and everybody, you knew immediately that it was something different and something special. Andy was so committed, and with Sarah and John, everybody, Laurie Holden, it really, Jeff DeMunn, it really was Frank's strong point always was putting together ensemble pieces. The
Mhm.
Mist, Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, like Frank excels at putting together those sort of pieces, ensemble pieces with a lot of great actors. So the casting was magnificent.
Mhm.
When we were shooting the first season, I was really the only person that was the zombie person there and Frank, of course. I remember we did zombie school for season 1, and I had cut together a bunch of clips from zombie movies. So when we would do we auditioned 200 people, and I had with me productions like, you should have this ballet dancer choreographer with you so that he can help with movement. I'm like, whatever. And we started showing clips, and I showed a clip from the original Night of the Living Dead. I actually showed a clip from Shaun of the Dead.
I love that movie.
When they're walking down the street, trying to blend in with the zombies. But, for Frank and I, it was always Night of the Living Dead was the canon. That's what we wanted to aim for, was paying tribute. And I'll be really, really honest. I remember years before Walking Dead, Frank and I went out to dinner one night, and he said to me, he's like, I've always wanted to do a zombie show. I've just never quite found the right material. I want to do a show about survival, a show about hope. And then when The Walking Dead comes up, and all of a sudden Frank calls me and goes, hey, I got the rights to this. We're going to shoot the show. I read that script probably a year before we went into production. And we sculpted a couple zombie masks for it, or zombie busts. And when he went to sell the show, he took these zombie busts into all his meetings with him. So it was him and Gallan Hurd. They went to HBO, they went to NBC, they went to AMC, they went to a bunch of places. Everybody passed, except for AMC. And Sue Nagel, who ran HBO at the time, was married to a really good friend of mine. And she's like, motherfucker, the one that got away. I wanted that.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think they had just done True Blood, or they had finished True Blood, and I think they were like, yeah, we don't need another horror genre thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, look, did I have any idea that the show was going to take off like that? No, because traditionally zombie stuff didn't take off like that. The cast was a huge part of it. I mean, Stephen Young alone, who was your sort of everyday kind of guy. I just think the casting was magnificent. And what it really did, which was something that I don't think any of us anticipated, was that it opened the door for the zombie genre to a mainstream audience.
Mhm,
Prior to
mhm.
that, it was Resident Evil. It was, House of the Dead. It
Yeah.
was 28 Days Later. It was like video games or a few niche movies. Shaun of the Dead, which is one of the greatest movies ever made. But that was really, they weren't huge box office blockbusters. They were niche movies based on video games.
Mhm.
Um, so Walking Dead made it mainstream, put it into everybody's living room on Sunday nights. And, we were able to do shit on The Walking Dead that we couldn't do in Land of the Dead 6 years earlier, 5 years earlier. The ratings board was literally ready with a red X marker to nix stuff that we did on Land of the Dead. And then you cut to 2010 and we're doing, when I bit out Emma Bell's neck.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so gory and so gruesome. And we did it on TV. I mean, cable TV, but still TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think any of us really, we just were making what we wanted to make. We didn't know if anybody else was going to watch it. We were just like, fuck, man, this is awesome.
Well, I know that all of us and all the people in the audience are grateful for what you guys have given to us. And we are very grateful for the kindness and the time that all of the actors and the cast show all of the fans when we meet up with you guys.
Yeah.
And one day I will meet you. And everybody's saying, please come to the camp. Please come to the camp.
I want to come. Look, I was going to come. I wanted to come this year. I think next year I'm going for sure. I unfortunately had a conflict this year that I couldn't get out of because I was like, shit. Because I know Gino went.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go. But listen, I mean, the one thing that we constantly acknowledge is the fact that we wouldn't be here without the fans. I remember, and actually Norman and I were just talking about this. When we did season 1, we were shooting in the quarry and it was 110 degrees in Atlanta and it was hot and humid and we were so miserable. And then they're like, oh, well, we have to go to San Diego because there's going to be Comic-Con and we're going to have a panel. I was probably the only person other than Frank who had ever been to Comic-Con. And they had a private jet and they picked us up and we flew to San Diego and it was me, Andy, John, Sarah, Jeff DeMunn, Laurie Holden, and Steven, I think, and Gail and Robert. And I'll never forget, we got to the hotel, we checked in, we put on our bathing suits, and we went out and ran and jumped in the ocean because we were still sticky from how humid it was in Atlanta. And then we were in Hall H, and we showed the first trailer. And it was electric. It was electric. We flew back to Georgia, and we were ready to shoot 100 more episodes, which subsequently we did. But Comic-Con became not only a place for us to share the show with the fans, but for us to get that really, really much needed adrenaline jolt from the fans that helped us push through a very challenging shoot. I mean, that wasn't an easy show to film. We were never on a nice air conditioned stage. We were always pulling ticks off of us every night, walking through spider webs in the middle of the woods and hot and sweaty and sticky. But we would go to Comic-Con and then we would leave and we would go back and we'd get the crew and we're like, all right, guys, you saw the trailer. We have a responsibility to make the best show we can make. Let's go.
That's awesome.
And you did.
Yeah.
Well, that brings me to another point I wanted to ask you. I probably already know the answer to this, but there's a show on MGM Plus called From that Dawn has introduced us to watch, and it's got some crazy monsters on there. And
I haven't even heard of that one.
Really, Patrick Baxter is the what did you say, Eliza? How is it? Prosthetic makeup?
He's the executive prosthetic director and makeup director.
The monsters on there are pretty awesome, and we've
Patrick, they must shoot that in Canada then, because
They
Patrick,
do.
Yeah.
Patrick worked for me on Land of the Dead. He was one of my makeup artists.
Yeah.
We've had a good amount of the cast already on the podcast, and they're just as sweet. And
Yeah.
Dawn introduced it to that show, and it's got some insane monsters on there.
Wow, you know, I've never even heard of it, so I'm behind the times.
Oh, you need to watch it for sure.
Gotta watch it. It's all Dawn's fault, though.
Yeah.
So, Greg, I want
Alright.
to ask the question: what scares you when you're alone at night?
Not much.
Not much.
Not much because, you know, I mean, I don't like spiders, but that's not really, that's just a phobia. That's not really scary. I really don't know. You know, it's funny because it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and I've been doing tons of Jaws. You know, I mean, I helped produce the documentary Jaws at 50 that came out. I was a producer on that. I've been having crazy shark nightmares, like probably 10. I think like 10 shark nightmares. And one of them was just horrific. There was this giant shark in this huge bathtub, and it was thrashing around. And then there was this 18-year-old kid who was just kind of shithead. And I kept saying, dude, don't get too close to the shark because you're going to get bit. And he, whatever, and kept close, and the shark is biting, and he gets close to it, and the tooth cuts his arm. And I said, see, now you got a cut from the shark, and you're going to get bacteria.
Yeah.
And then in the dream, no, because it, you know, and then in the dream, literally, like this big, and the shark opens its mouth, and the kid leans over and puts his head into the mouth. And I woke up, and I was like, holy shit. So I've had a lot of weird shark dreams. I don't know.
I fell down the rabbit hole of Shark Week for 3 weeks straight. Then it was just shark after shark after shark.
It
Yeah,
could
and
just
it's
be
funny-
that I'm very stressed out and I have a lot of anxiety right now, so that it manifests itself in shark dreams.
Well, Dawn had a brilliant idea for what you needed to do in regards to Jaws. Dawn, tell me.
I already told you when we were in Lexington and Nick and Norman's, I said, Jaws is like my favorite movie. It's the best movie ever. And I'd hate to redo it, but I told you Andy would make the perfect Brody.
He would do it too, but that'll never happen.
I know.
That would be, yeah.
And then she had picked Rooker to be Quint, and Josh McDermott to play.
Hooper. You know what? I would see that.
Can't you see it?
Now I have to shoot a trailer for that movie.
I can
Right.
see it. I can see
Yeah.
it.
And you could get Laurie Holden to come in and play Brody's wife, and Chandler could play the older son, and
There you go.
Yeah.
We got the whole cast.
Yes.
Well, Chandler, yeah, I know. Chandler could be the Kittner boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he'd
Absolutely.
be pissed that he gets killed so fast.
It'd just be a stupid little short that would be a lot of fun and would appease to all of the Walking Dead fandom.
Absolutely.
No, I'm gonna go shoot that now.
There you go.
I just gotta get
Absolutely.
Andy. I just gotta get Andy over here. That's it.
Yes.
I mean, look, I
Right,
can get everybody else. Josh, I see all the time. Rooker's back and forth between it.
Right.
That's great, though.
Yeah. Well, if you can't get Andy, you might be able to get Jeffrey Dean to come in and do it.
Well, he's a big Jaws fan. JDM's
Yeah.
a huge Jaws fan. My friend that has the Daily Jaws on YouTube.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, he wanted JDM to do an interview for him because I did one and Slash did one and a bunch of other people. And Jeffrey's like, yeah, man, I love Jaws. I'll do it. And then he got busy on promoting Dead City, so he couldn't.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, we need to get Jeffrey on here so that he can come on and have his name say Greg Nicotero.
We'll have to do that. All right, I will text him.
I have one last question for you, Greg.
Yeah.
What on the
You guys keep saying that. You're like, I just have one last question.
one more question for me.
And now, why don't you just say, so I have a question.
Okay.
On The Walking Dead, what is your most memorable and favorite walker to have created that you're proud of?
You know, let me segue that to a different question because I feel like with Bicycle Girl, I feel like I talked about that before.
Right.
What I would love to talk about one of my favorite moments. And we were shooting at the prison, and it was Chandler turned 16, and it was midnight. And when you work with kids in movies, you can only work with them for so many hours because of the labor laws with children. And it was a scene where zombies are trying to overrun the prison, and Rick and Carl are outside with machine guns, and they're shooting at the walkers. And when he turned 16, he shot 10 minutes of machine, because before that he wasn't allowed to shoot in any blanks. It was always put in digitally. So I have pictures of him like when he turned 16. It was so much fun. I mean, look, we had so much fun making that show when it was at its height. Like, I would say between seasons 1 and 6 are without a doubt, to me, 6 seasons of some of the best television in history.
Right.
Yeah. And I will put those up against anything. And to me, some of the best stuff were the bloopers, and because we never really, there wasn't a lot of laughs on that in the show, so the laughs were always behind the scenes. Like every time an airplane would fly over in the middle of the scene, people would pull their guns out and start pretending to shoot at the airplane. But some of my favorite moments, just in general, I mean, Steven was just brilliantly funny all the time, and I really loved. I'm trying to think if there's a moment that really stands out. There's so many. I don't even, I wouldn't even know where to start. There's so many, but it was such a great. There was one scene that I was shooting where, and it's in one of the bloopers, where they're all in the car. I think it's Dany, Ross, Steven, and Andy, and they're driving in the car, and there's zombies in the street. They start boom, 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 driving through. And I'm directing, and I'm like, okay, guys, so when I say action, Steven, that's your first line is shit when you see, because we were on stage shooting the close-ups. So I'm like, just say shit on action. So then they're all in the car, shit on action. Shit on action. And I go, action, they go, shit, and he went right in. I'm going to find that. Eliza, I'll send you that clip because it's super funny.
So they need to come out with a bloopers reel.
I have all of them. I don't think anybody's ever seen them. I don't think anybody's ever posted them. I don't think they're actually out there, but especially when we did the finale. I think when we did the finale, the wrap party at the finale, they showed the blooper reel for every season. So it was like an hour and a half just on the monitors in the background of all the bloopers.
I want to see that.
We would buy that hands down all day long. We would buy that.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to see if I couldn't even share my screen if I knew how with this program, but I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'm going to find it because I've been meaning, because we get the 15th anniversary coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of me really wants to like just post a couple bloopers just for people to see because they're so funny, and you guys would love them.
Yeah,
we'd eat it up for sure.
And just knowing
it's such a big family, and we all met because of The Walking Dead. So we love you guys. We love you for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, we don't.
We all met because of that.
Yeah.
Not me.
Oh, except for, hold on, I'll just cover you up on my screen.
Well, we could talk to you for hours on hours, and Carol, you want to tell him what and Dawn, this was your idea about what we're wanting to do for our Relishing After Dark.
Well, we're starting a Relishing After Dark, and it's going to honor you, Greg. We're going to go over every movie that you were a part of and all your special effects.
You have 600 movies and TV shows.
It's okay.
That's okay. We got nothing but time. Nothing but time.
Wow.
But we hope that maybe one day you will join us again. And we saw that Oscar Rodriguez, who was on the show, is also the owner of the camp. He was in the audience, and yes, we all would clamor and love for you to be at the camp next year.
I would love to. I would love to.
Do we have any? We have one more question from a Patreon, and then we're going to go into our favorite thing with everybody.
Yeah. Can't hear it.
Filming location in Georgia was your favorite and why? Thank you.
Start it over, Elisa. We couldn't hear it.
I think I
Were you able to hear?
I think
No, we couldn't hear.
That was
she said, what were some of the favorite filming locations? I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What was some of your favorite locations?
And that was Anessa. She's one of our Patreons also.
I would probably. I mean, look, I just found a bunch of cool videos when we were building the prison. Season 3, and it was literally like they just put the towers up and they've had sprinklers to grow the grass really high in the middle of the prison. That was an amazing location. I mean, it was at the back lot, but
Right.
you know, the sets were great. The prison wall sets were amazing. The back lot with the dog run and the fences and stuff like that. That was what was crazy about that is, you know, your office was in the front of the lot and then you just walk over and walk down and you were on the set. So I love that set of the prison. I thought it was amazing.
It's actually my favorite season.
Mine too.
Days. I love it.
Yeah, that's a great. And I remember when we were wrapping season 2 and we were wrapping up at Herschel Farm, and Greg Melton, who was the production designer, because he did seasons 1 and 2, I believe. We were all like standing in the middle of the field, and he's like, so this is where the prison would be, and he had these blueprints, and he's like, this is where this is when we were wrapping season 2. And I was like, you guys are gonna build the whole prison here? Holy shit, that's cool. And then the funniest thing is at the beginning of season 3, maybe it was season 4, it was an episode I directed, and Dany was on her horse riding towards the prison gate. Originally it was supposed to have a moat, and they wanted a moat around the prison. They were going to dig a big moat in front of the gate. And I remember we were sitting in a production meeting, and that comes up on the radio. They're like, we can't dig the moat because they found quicksand. And I was like, quicksand? So they started digging in front of where the guard gate was, and they got about 6 feet down, and it was all water underneath it.
Wow.
So I was like, where's Frankenstein?
Oh my gosh.
I got excited. I wanted to see Frankenstein. Jeff January and I were like, it's so
That's
fun.
great.
But I love that.
Oh.
I loved that set. I thought that set was so unique and so just immersive. Like you felt like you were there. Every time you stood on that, you stood in that field, you felt like you were there.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Well, Greg, we love you. We thank you. We always end our interviews with the James Lipton questions. And if you've watched any of his interviews on Inside the Actor Studio,
I was at the Walking Dead one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See? So we're going to let Carol start off with our questions.
All right. So this is probably my favorite question ever. And don't hold anything back. I want to know what your favorite curse word is.
Fuck.
I knew you were a fuck guy. I knew it.
I mean, I said it like 10 times already. So
Yeah. I love it. All right. So what's your favorite word other than curse words?
Chucklehead.
I love that.
We haven't had that one yet.
No, we get a lot of them. There's like, oh, that guy's a chucklehead.
That's fantastic.
Don, there's somebody hiding behind you. It looks like.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, that's
It
Rick.
looked like literally all I saw was the arm, and I'm like, oh, it looks like somebody's hiding behind.
I have
We
a
all
prediction.
have those stand-ups at home.
Oh, I see Ross's, but I didn't know.
That's
I
mine.
just noticed it.
Rick.
It's Andy
Elisa's got Jeffrey Dean, and I've got Rick at home too. So
I've got two Rosses.
Andy's making that I just farted face. Sorry, Andy.
that's right.
Oh my God.
All right. So what's
Wait,
your
Carol, I could see you making a shirt saying Chucklehead.
I'm going to. Oh, that's my next T-shirt. Yeah. So what is your least favorite word?
Discharge.
Just charge. Okay.
Just not a good word.
Just
So
not
the new T-shirt is going to say "Discharge, Chucklehead."
Yeah, knuckleheads are discharged. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. Next.
See, I told you I have more questions for you. Okay.
All right.
What turns you on?
Music.
Okay. Okay. What turns you off?
Insecure people.
Okay. Good one. I don't think we've had that one before.
Mm-mm.
All right. And I add a question. If you can have a dinner party and you can invite 3 actors or actresses, dead or alive, who would they be?
Clint Eastwood, Sean Connery, and Rita Hayworth.
Cool.
Oh, wow. Good.
Great. Well, thank you.
And
Greg.
by the way, I would
Yes.
never have a chance with her if those 2 motherfuckers were there.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't even know why I invited them.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Rita, hold on, let me do that again.
Yes. Go right
Rita
ahead.
Hayworth, the dog from Rin Tin Tin, and the cat from the Chow 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 Purina Cat Chow commercial.
There you go.
Then I have a chance. But me, Sean Connery, and Clint Eastwood, and Rita Hayworth, I fucked that up. I would literally just be sitting there with like the bottle of wine going.
Just drinking the night away.
Oh,
Okay.
Whew, that was great.
What's your favorite sound?
A guitar.
Your least favorite sound?
A cell phone ringing.
Okay, and then I had a question. If you had a birthday party and you could invite 3 musicians or bands that are alive, who would you invite?
Well, I had that already.
Not
Because-
musicians.
musician.
Yeah, on my 60th birthday.
Oh,
I'll tell you who was at my 60th birthday party. It was the best. John Landis, Robert Rodriguez, Frank Darabont, Slash, Scott Ian from Anthrax,
oh wow.
Rick Baker. So, and I invited Kirk Hammett, but he couldn't make it. So that would have been my 3 because they're my
Wow.
friends.
Wow.
See,
Super cool.
My invitation for that party was lost in the mail.
Mine
Yeah,
was too.
Yeah.
Well, Jeffrey and Norman didn't make it because they were both out of town. But
Yeah.
Frank flew in and Robert flew in from Austin.
That's
And,
awesome.
It was super fun. It was a great night.
So what career other than your own as, you know, the film industry would you like to try?
I think I would be a good psychiatrist.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
I do.
You would be a fun one.
I would. I would. I
If
think
you were having a book, an autobiography written about you, what would the title of your biography be?
Why? I think that would just be it.
Why? And if heaven exists, what do you hope to hear God say to you when you reach the pearly gates?
Why? I don't know. I think God would be like, you guys got the blood color wrong.
That's a blood color wrong.
He said zombie blood is not dark red, dark brown. He
Oh.
said, you got it wrong.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Greg, you're an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, you're wonderful.
Thank you, ladies. It was a delight. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Mwah.
You.
Much
Bye,
love to you.
everybody.
Thank you,
Good
Greg.
night.
Good
Good night.
night. Bye. Oh, what an absolute pleasure and wonderful human being he
That
is.
dinner party was, what am I doing?
I know. He was awesome. He was just
Like I said, I could talk to him for hours or listen to him
Hours.
talk for hours.
Absolutely. Yes.
I hope we
absolutely.
didn't. I hope we
He
I hope
wasn't
we
going anywhere. We could have kept going.
oh, I know, I know.
Yeah.
He's yeah. The dream come true.
Icon.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, guys.
thank
Well,
you.
thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And sorry,
No,
guys, we
and-
didn't get to your questions. I know there was so many.
Yeah.
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 But hopefully he will come back again and join us another time because that there's so much about Greg that we didn't even get to touch on, so there's still more to go.
Yep. Well, I know that today's a special day for one of our Patreons, Carol.
Oh yeah.
Birthday, Booch!
Hey, Melissa.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
Melissa.
Melissa. We love you.
She's probably working, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm in still.
But thank you. I just got to say thank you to everybody in the comments, everybody watching tonight. You guys knocked it out of the park. Thank you for sharing, and participating. We've read all of your comments throughout the entire show. So I hope that you guys are happy with what we were able to deliver to you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Greg was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I even got teary-eyed. I don't know if you all did, but it was just overwhelming, amazing. Just
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to go anywhere. We could have kept him on for another hour.
Just his generosity with his time, and we see a lot of these interviews on YouTube when we go to watching and doing background research, and a lot of them are like 15-minute little blips, or they're sharing the platform with someone else, and so we're very blessed and thankful for the time that we do get to spend with these actors and crew.
yeah, I agree.
And I really thought he was going to tell me that he saw From, or he knew about it at least. He didn't even know about it.
no.
All right,
Now,
so we have
hopefully we'll watch it.
we have another special guest coming Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Nadine Marissa, who plays Nabila on The Walking Dead. She'll be joining us on Monday night.
Yes. Yay.
Yay. All right.
Okay, we like to thank our patrons and financial supporters of our show. Casey and Katrina Florig, Brandon Cade, Ben and Melissa Gilbert, and happy birthday again, Melissa. Hope you're having a great day. Terry and Kay Collier, Jonathan and Michelle Cooley, Wesley and Sarah Hale, Jasmine Mullins, Vaughn Montalago, and Jason Cohn, Tracy Killen Stokes, Mary and Craig, Linda Athens, Casey Collins, Crystal Fink, Dava Tuckerman. It's nice to see everybody in the comments tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Julie Blackwell, Jason Hill, Kayla Duro, Debbie Juno Jerome, and Nissa. Nissa, thanks for your question today. Edward and Diana Ponce Krupa, Kiki Sophia, Mark. Where was Mark? I always say, where's Mark? He's Waldo. Where's Waldo?
Yeah. Here's Mark.
Pamela Blythe, Regina Lawson, Tina Stromberg, and Randy Nickel, Samara, Dustin Baker, Sandy Morrison. I didn't see Sandy in the comments. Is she?
She was in there earlier.
Oh, yeah, she was in there. Yeah.
Debbie Sullivan, Elizabeth Hanson Green, and Janet. It's still
Janice Hasty Sherrod.
It's in the white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to be in like a brighter color for me.
I'll change it for you, baby.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
And thank you all so much for sharing. We got to like almost 1,100 likes on our page, or 1,100. That's right. And we were so excited about that because we only had like 960. So last few days, you all really rocked it. So if you haven't joined our Facebook group, do that. That's where we give away monthly prizes and play the games. everybody's liked our podcast page. Please send invites and share. Instagram, Eliza keeps that hopping. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. Carol, what are you going to add on that IMBD?
I'm going to grab and add Greg Nicotero to my IMDb for us. Yay, finally.
And then we have merchandise. I don't know if Lisa wants to put the link in there. And
Oh,
then,
it's there.
okay, is it there? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then
Yeah.
you can join us and be a Patreon. It's $20 a month or $10 a month. And those Patrons get special privileges too. And Barb, you want to tell them about the Echelon briefing?
Yeah, we have a special chat group. Me and Dawn do games every day of the week, but the Echelon briefings is a private chat just for the Patreons, and we do games throughout the week randomly, and we also play some Family Feud on the weekends, and they get an extra drawing for themselves for extra prizes.
Yeah,
So,
it's awesome.
it's fun.
And so why do people want to be Patreons, Dawn?
Because we get back to the lovely people in the comment section.
That's right.
Whew.
Good night. That was a good
It was
one.
a good night. It was a good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
A good night. For a good night.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we love you, and we will see you next week, right?
That's
Yeah.
it. All right. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Leave me